3 Kings, 1 Kings, chapter 11. And King Solomon loved many strange women, besides the daughter of Pharaoh, and women of Moab, and of Ammon, and of Edom, and of Sidon, and of the Hethites. Of the nations concerning which the Lord said to the children of Israel, You shall not go in unto them, neither shall any of them come into yours, for they will most certainly turn away your hearts to follow their gods. And to these was Solomon joined with a most ardent love. And he had 700 wives as queens, and 300 concubines, and the women turned away his heart. And when he was now old, his heart was turned away by women to follow strange gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father. But Solomon worshipped Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Moloch, the idol of the Ammonites. And Solomon did that which was not pleasing before the Lord, and did not fully follow the Lord, as David his father. Then Solomon built a temple for Chemosh, the idol of Moab, on the hill that is over against Jerusalem, and for Moloch, the idol of the children of Ammon. And he did in this manner for all his wives that were strangers, who burnt incense and offered sacrifice to their gods. And the Lord was angry with Solomon, because his mind was turned away from the Lord, the God of Israel, who had appeared to him twice, and had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not follow strange gods. But he kept not the things which the Lord commanded him. The Lord therefore said to Solomon, Because thou hast done this, and hast not kept my covenant and my precepts which I have commanded thee, I will divide and rend thy kingdom, and will give it to thy servant. Nevertheless, in thy days I will not do it, for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. Neither will I take away the whole kingdom, but I will give one tribe to thy son, for the sake of David my servant, and Jerusalem which I have chosen. And the Lord raised up an adversary to Solomon, Adad the Edomite, of the king's seed in Edom. For when David was in Edom, and Joab, the general of the army, was gone up to bury them that were slain, and had killed every male in Edom. For Joab remained there 6 months with all Israel, till he had slain every male in Edom. Then Adad fled, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him, to go into Egypt. And Adad was then a little boy. And they arose out of Madian, and came into Pharan, and they took men with them from Pharan, and went into Egypt, to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, who gave him a house, and appointed him victuals, and assigned him land. And Adad found great favor before Pharaoh, insomuch that he gave him to wife the own sister of his wife, Taphnes the queen. And the sister of Taphnes bore him his son, Genubath. And Taphnes brought him up in the house of Pharaoh. And Genubath dwelt with Pharaoh among his children. And when Adad heard in Egypt that David slept with his fathers, and that Joab, the general of the army, was dead, he said to Pharaoh, Let me depart, that I may go to my own country. And Pharaoh said to him, Why, what is wanting to thee with me, that thou seekest to go to thy own country? But he answered, Nothing. Yet I beseech thee to let me go. God also raised up against him an adversary, Rezon, the son of Eliada, who had fled from his master, Adarezer, the king of Soba. And he gathered men against him, and he became a captain of robbers, when David slew them of Soba. And they went to Damascus, and dwelt there, and they made him king in Damascus. And he was an adversary to Israel all the days of Solomon, and this is the evil of Adad, and his hatred against Israel, and he reigned in Syria. Jeroboam also, the son of Nabat, an Ephrathite of Sereda, a servant of Solomon, whose mother was named Seruah, a widow woman, lifted up his hand against the king. And this is the cause of his rebellion against him. For Solomon built Millo, and filled up the breach of the city of David his father. And Jeroboam was a valiant and mighty man. And Solomon, seeing him a young man ingenious and industrious, made him chief over the tributes of all the house of Joseph. So it came to pass at that time that Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem
And the prophet Ahias the Silonite, clad with a new garment, found him in the way, and they two were alone in the field.
And Ahias, taking his new garment, wherewith he was clad, divided it into 12 parts. And he said to Jeroboam, Take to thee 10 pieces, for thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, Behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give thee 10 tribes. But 1 tribe shall remain to him, for the sake of my servant David, and Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel.
Because he hath forsaken me, and hath adored Astarte, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Shamos, the god of Moab, and Moloch, the god of the children of Ammon, and hath not walked in my ways, to do justice before me, and to keep my precepts and judgments, as did David his father. Yet I will not take away all the kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince all the days of his life, for David my servant's sake, whom I chose, who kept my commandments and my precepts. But I will take away the kingdom out of his son's hand, and will give thee 10 tribes. And to his son I will give 1 tribe, that there may remain a lamp for my servant David before me always in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen, that my name might be there. And I will take thee, and thou shalt reign over all that thy soul desireth, and thou shalt be king over Israel. And I will for this afflict the seed of David, but yet not forever. Solomon therefore sought to kill Jeroboam, but he arose and fled into Egypt to Sisac the king of Egypt, and was in Egypt till the death of Solomon. And the rest of the words of Solomon, and all that he did, and his wisdom, behold, they are all written in the book of the words of the days of Solomon. And the days that Solomon reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel were 40 years. And Solomon slept with his fathers, and was buried in the city of David his father, and Rehoboam his son reigned in his stead. From PrayLamp, peace be with you.